Hey guys, Mr. Nichols here to give you a little bit of instruction on how you're going to be doing the blood droplet exploration today. So again, our goal is to really figure out the relationship between the height at which a blood droplet is released from and strikes the surface and what that does to the overall shape of that blood droplet. Now, today we're just going to be dealing with passive droplets, meaning they're just going to be falling straight down. So realistically, I know that some of you probably won't have all of the materials that you need. A lot of you probably don't have a measurement tool at home. You might not have a ruler, or you might not have a yardstick or a meter stick, or you might not have measuring tape. That's totally fine. You might have a hard time getting some paper. You might have a hard time finding a colored liquid, and that's okay. If you can get those things, awesome. It'll make your life a little bit easier, but you can absolutely do this lab with paper and water. So that's the bare minimum of what you'd need to be able to do this here. And I think we all can probably have access to that. And if you have any questions, always don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to have 3 different heights, which you're going to release 3 different drops of whatever your liquid is. Now, it is definitely better if you can have a colored liquid. It'll be a little bit easier to see. But if you don't have access to food dye or Gatorade or soda or anything like that, that's totally fine. You could just use the water here. So what I'm going to recommend that you do is you're going to go ahead and take your sheet of paper and you're just going to go ahead and set it flat on your surface. Now, I'd recommend doing this definitely inside. You're going to want to do it. You're going to want to do it on a flat, smooth surface. You probably won't want to do it on carpet or anything like that. So if you have like tile in a bathroom or in your kitchen or anything like that, that's definitely going to be ideal. And again, if you still have some difficulty with these, please feel free to just reach out and we can kind of brainstorm it. So again, all you really need is your liquid. So our 3 heights that we're going to be using are going to be starting with 1 foot, then up to 3 feet, then up to 5 feet, which again would be 30 centimeters, which I know it might be a little bit difficult terms to tell you guys, especially if you don't have a ruler or a meter stick at home. So 30 centimeters, 90 centimeters, and 150 centimeters. So if you don't have a measuring tool to make sure that you're at the exact height, just kind of eyeball it. You know, a foot is going to be approximately about that much. If you want to get really crazy, go ahead and just kind of measure the length of your foot. If it's a little bit off, that's okay. All we're really looking at is we're trying to look at the trend for this here. So what you're going to do is you're going to orient your liquid approximately. So for your first sample, it's going to be approximately 3 feet above your sheet of paper. So instead of just dumping it from your glass into onto the sheet of paper, you're just going to dip your finger into your cup. So you have a small little droplet of water that comes down from it, which I know that was probably pretty tricky to see. Maybe there you go. So essentially, you're just going to just use that, and that's how you're going to release your droplet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just run through this real quick, which you're going to do 3 droplets. And I'd recommend using different sheets of paper if you can. If you don't have the access to that, maybe break it up into smaller pieces. You just don't want it to get too saturated. Okay, so and actually here, I'll do it so it's a little bit closer to you guys so you can see it here. Okay, so here is our sheet of paper. So I'm going to hold my glass of water up about 3 feet. Sorry, 1 foot. 1 foot above. That's right. We're starting with 1 foot. So about a foot above. So I'm just going to eyeball it. So it's about there. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. So notice, and this might be a little bit tricky to see. Let's see if we can kind of angle the light. There we go. So you can kind of see the circular shape of those blood droplets. Now, as we talked about before, which let's get it to focus. As we talked about before, notice how they are, since this is on paper, Paper is a pretty rough surface. Although it might look smooth, if you were to take a magnifying glass or a microscope, you would be able to see that there are really small, tiny variations in the fibers that make up this paper. So essentially what you're going to do now is you're going to measure the diameter, from one end of this droplet to the other. And that's it. That's our main goal here. Sorry, it's kind of focusing out a little bit. So again, if you don't have a ruler, totally fine. I went ahead and posted a link to a digital ruler. So you can just pull it up on your Chromebook. You'll kind of hold your sheet of paper up to the screen of your Chromebook, and you can use that to measure it. Again, if it's a little bit inconsistent, that's okay. We just want to get the general trend. And I guarantee the separation between a foot, 3 feet, and then 5 feet, you'll be able to see that trend pretty easily. Okay? So you'll repeat that exact same process, which you might want to wait for your droplets to dry just a little bit. You don't want to wait too long, though, because the water or the liquid, which especially if you're using pure water, is actually going to spread out on the sheet of paper pretty quickly because the paper will absorb it and it'll spread out. So you'll want to measure that pretty quickly there. So you'll go ahead and you'll measure your diameter, so the length from one end of the circle to the other, of each of your 3 droplets at each of your 3 heights. So again, your 1 foot, your 3 feet, your 5 feet. I probably said that too much at this point. We do want to use our measurements as well in centimeters. I know that I had kind of mentioned 1 feet, 3 feet, 5 feet. I think that's just a little bit easier for most of you guys to visualize. But our measurements that we're taking with a ruler or with the digital ruler that I posted in the document, we definitely want that to be in centimeters. So then you'll go through, just calculate the average of each trial. So from your 1 foot, 3 feet, 5 feet, and then you'll go ahead and see whether or not your hypothesis was proven correct. So again, make sure that, and I'll put this video after the section for you're making your predictions, but make sure that you guys do that first before you go through and just try and dive in. So you're making a prediction, you're going to make a hypothesis about what you think that relationship is going to be. So again, I hope that this was helpful, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, especially if you haven't already. All of you who are watching this video should be scheduling a time to meet with me at some point before the end of the week. So I've posted that document for us to sign up for a particular time slot, and basically you'll just log into our Google Meet that's linked inside of that document at whatever time you sign up for. So it's pretty flexible and pretty wide open. If you need a time that's outside of those ranges, feel free to message me. I'd be happy to help come up with a different time. That's just kind of the ranges that I had initially used. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope you have a fantastic day, and good luck. Take care, guys.